Okay, this is the Rogarian. All rights go to respectable owners and whoever belongs them to danmachi and DMC. This new What If is called What If Belle was the reincarnation above Dante and Virgil and was taught by them. I might have to cut out and was taught by them if it takes up too much room. Firstly, there's very quick announcements that you need to hear, so please don't skip this one. I've decided how I'm going to use Patreon. I'm going to post a schedule. Once I get done with 6 What Ifs, I'll post a new schedule. I will also be doing I also explain what I'm going to be doing on the channel, and I'll explain it here really quick. Is that it takes me around between 3 to 7 days, depending on how much time I have to get a script done, read, and record. But like this week, because I didn't have as much time and I wasn't feeling as well, it took me a week, 2 weeks more schedule wise. Finally, that if we start getting actual Patreons and we get a decent amount, I'm tempted to start doing Patreon polls to let you guys pick what was you want me to do next and or you would prefer me to put first in the schedule. That's what I'm planning to do for Patreon only people. So if we start getting there, that's good. Now then, just before I get started, I want to thank you all for subscribing while I was gone for so long, getting me to 170. We're almost to 200, and if we can get there, I will use one of the newer what ifs as the 200 special. Okay, so just go check out the schedule, and that's all I gotta say about that. Now let's get started with the what if. Okay, we start off with a young Belle right after his grandfather saved him from a goblin, and he was asleep. As he drifted away, he entered this dark void, and at first was confused. Then two bright orbs of light, one blue and one red, appeared. As they speak, the blue one saying, "You are pathetic," the red one saying, "Come on, bro, he's just a young kid, and he didn't know how to fight." The one then responding, "Well, it's still pathetic." Hearing this caused Belle to tear up a bit, then saying, "I know I'm pathetic. I want to be stronger and become a hero like my grandfather wants me to be, and I want to be. But that just seems to be a pipe dream at this point." And then the red orb said, "Well, if you want to get stronger, we can train you." With the blue orb saying, "I will never let us be this weak, so we will train you." Belle then saying, "You can do that? Great. But wait, who are you?" The orbs just who are you? Just orbs? Just then the red orb of flame turned into the man in the red coat, which is on the thumbnail, saying his name is Dante. And the blue flame orb turned into a man with a blue and black coat and thumbnail, saying his name is Virgil. Just then one of Belle's crimson eyes turns blue. And Belle actually did have brown hair originally. In this one, it turns to the usual white you see in the picture in the anime. But they both say, "Well, now it's time to train." Now we cut to years later to what looks like a cave with a young 14-year-old boy wearing a black, blue-redded coat with a hoodie. He also, with his hoodie on, he also wore a mask. It was red and blue with a black outline. While wearing Virgil's top as a thumbnail and Dante's belt and pants as a thumbnail with some common combat boots. He was he held a silver greatsword in one of his hands, holding it tight in his grip as his gloves stick to it like it was glue. As he dashed forward at speeds beyond even what a level 7 adventure could normally do, dicing through monsters left and right and quickly grabbing crystals as he went down to lower floors. He then stopped to catch his breath as a roar can be heard. As he then thinks to himself, "What the hell is this? Is that a Minotaur's roar? What is it doing all the way here? Did it escape the lower levels?" As he was thinking to himself, just then the Minotaur started barreling towards him. He dodged out of the way as it slammed into a nearby wall. He then dropped the greatsword into a black voided abyss that appeared before him, quickly pulling out a katana. He then took a draw position, and in an instant as the Minotaur turned around as he was about to attack, he diced it into nothing but blood. As soon as he did, blood spattered everywhere and even flew back, as then he took a deep breath in and out, then saying to himself, "Really? I know I'm a level 1, but man, that thing was weak. Well, I am a demon after all, so I probably should compare myself to the levels of strength that a normal mortal race member would." He then realizes there was a presence behind him. He then sees this golden-haired-eyed young knight-looking girl, with this light blush on her face, making him wonder what was going on. But then he decided this. He then decided this. Sorry. He decided to take off his hood, and as he walked up to get a better look at her face, he noticed she was quite beautiful. He then decides to also take off his mask, as well as he goes to the girl, who's now completely red in the face, as all the other girls he knows, he thought to himself. He then reaches up his hand and wipes away some of the blood on her face, and then says, "Well, Miss Goldie, a woman of your beauty should not go around with blood on her face. Oh well, having a good day." He then returns his mask and hood back on to his face and head respectfully. He then walks away, disappearing to the top floor to leave the dungeon. Now, we cut back to moments earlier with the blonde girl, just before the incident. As she was walking and talking with her familia members, mentors appeared. They killed most of them, but some of them ran away. As she was riding with them, silver gray-hairish wolf man, they split up. She then was running at full speed, trying to find this thing before it hurt someone. And as she was doing this, she realized she saw it, and she quickly ran towards it. But then she stopped to see a young boy. He had to be at least 2 years younger than her, she thought. But it's also quite deceiving, maybe. But no, he is younger than me. What's deceiving is his height. He could pass for a young man as early as 17. But you can tell by his body mass that he's much younger than her. Then she decided she had to jump in. And as she was about to jump in, she saw something that took her breath away. All she saw was a sword being drawn, and as it was drawn, it was turned to the sheath, the host to its sheath. Then the Minotaur was diced into nothing but blood spot everywhere, some even getting on her face. This was the first time she noticed her heart had skipped a beat like that. And to her, that swordsmanship was so beautiful, the thing she had ever seen. And only a god of a war or a blade could have done something like that. This even causes her to lightly blush, as she doesn't know why this is going on and she's getting lost in thought. The young boy turns around and sees her. He then removes his hood as he's getting closer. As he walks up, he removes his mask, with her only thought at that point now being, I never thought someone could be classified as beautiful, handsome, pretty, and cute all at once. This causing her to get beet red, and now her heartbeat was being out of control. She didn't know what was going on. He then just touches her face. She's felt kind touches before in her life, but nothing compared to this level. She doesn't even know how to describe it right now. He then said some line. She couldn't even remember what he was saying because she was so lost in thought in his eyes. As then she started to feel something she's never felt before. It's like her whole body was being flushed over with this new emotion. And she got even more lost in thoughts. Without realizing, the young boy who just helped wipe her face was gone. And her being so lost, she was just staring at the wall in this dazed state. With the young werewolf coming back, trying to get her attention, as a group of people came. Just then, a young elf and two Amazons from a group were trying to help. They finally screamed loud enough and made enough racket to finally get her attention. And then finally asking Eyes, being her name, what happened. Been like that for an hour. She then said, I don't know. But her face then got completely red. Then she said, I can't get that person out of my head. The rest of the group was in complete shock. Everyone was like, wait. Einstein was in love. What the hell happened? And when did this happen? As they all scream in their head. We then cut to the guild as Bells then walks in. He has some blood on his clothing, a little bit on his body. And when Anna, how I pronounce her name, saw that, she completely freaked out. Then asked if he was okay. He nodded his head. She then said, okay, take a shower. I get change and I'll get a change of clothes. We'll get you washed. So once you get washed up, we'll head to the booth, okay? And you will tell me what happened. With that, she then rushed him into the area for the showers, then tossed him to the spirit clothes with him shutting the door. Nisha walking up behind her saying, "Your husband's back, Ina." With Ina then giving her a death look and saying, "He's not, but I do worry about him." With Misha saying, "Really? All you talk about sometimes is said nothing but him. And you get red as hell done talking to him when you guys leave the booth and you almost pass out. And recently it's caused a lot of the fanboys of yours to get angry and jealous. Now that I think about it, strong types like him, not your thing." She then sighed and said, "Hey, Misha, trust me, I know why I fell for him so easily." As she thought to herself, "I remember that first week. I had just gotten assigned to him that day, and we went to one of the private booths to discuss what we should do. He sat down in the room immediately, and then just as soon as he sat down and I was seated, he immediately asked me this: 'I need all the help you give to me.' It was shocking to me to hear that. Normally I'd have to protest about it because sometimes adventurers think they're better than everyone else just because they have a blessing. And then he raised his head, saying, 'I don't really know anything about the dungeon or in the dungeon. To be honest, I do know the world, since I've traveled it once. But other than that, all I really know how to do is fight.' He was scratching his head, but after some time of us bonding together over this past month, he finally did something that changed my feelings for him. I noticed they're getting stronger. But this day was what truly changed me. He was taking one of my very hard possible tests, I like to call it, in the booth room. Which sadly, as usual, he passed flawlessly. Don't know whether that means I'm a good teacher or I'm just too slow. But then he said to me, actually turning in, "Hey, Nina, can I trust you with something?" I then asked, "What is it?" He then pointed to his mask, saying, "See, it's my face. And I always wear it because women in particular give me this really weird looks and gazes, and they sometimes pass out afterwards or immediately. So tell me, if I was really ugly, would you be honest with me?" I then responded to him, "I'll take a look myself." As I thought to myself, after all, it might help him with his confidence. Belle took off his hoodie and mask, and to be honest, it was the most stunning moment of my life. It was like time had stopped. To me, Belle could be a deity of beauty with complete ease. Thinking to myself, no wonder why girls faint and stare at him so much. And to be honest, I was partially holding on to that point in time, but thanks to my years of service, I was able to keep a straight face. And I told Belle, "I think you're both handsome and cute," even though that nearly killed me. But then he smiled so brightly and so happily in saying, "Thank you." And to be honest, I could have died and gone to heaven right there from just that smile alone. But I held on, and the second our meeting, he left, and I swooned, very nice swoon. Now taking a deep sigh, I then heard the door open. Just then Belle came out of the shower in black shirt, some jeans, and he had his usual mask on. Ina then took him to a booth. And then Belle told her what had happened. Then she just told him to be more careful, since even though he did take that preliminary test and a level, he would be considered a level 7 given what information they have. He's still level 1 and needs to be extremely careful. And then she gives him back his clothes as he's about to leave, since they're clean. He turns into stone, he walks into the city and heads towards his familia home. Now we cut to Twilight Mare. Now this is the Loki familiars that Eyes and the rest of the group from the dungeon are from. And sadly, the home base right now is in utter chaos because of what just happened to Eyes. As we cut into the main office room with I cry and angry Loki rolling around, acting up like a tantrum child on the floor. With the rest of the members, after this whole incident, we're trying to figure out what was going on with Eyes. Now we start with Finn, a young blonde broom, basically their small race, saying, "Okay, what has happened with the twin Amazonian sisters, Tiona and Tina? Tina, I think is how you name Tioni, Tioni and Tiona." Okay, back to this. Okay, saying, "Well, she's been just staying there in a daze, completely beat red. We finally got her attention. She's been like this ever since." Everyone in the upper familia ranks, being Finn, the green-haired elf known as Riveria, the dwarf known as Garth, the werewolf Bete, the two Amazonians that stayed before Tiona and Tina, and Loki. At this point had gotten up, or just staring at Eyes, realizing she was twirling her thumbs behind this insane blushing face, just muttering herself over and over again, like trying to figure something out. Just then Riveria stepped up, saying, "Okay, what happened, Eyes?" She then looked up, asking, "About what?" They're cocking her head in the side in confusion, which is normal for her, which caused everyone to sigh in relief. But then they had to make sure she understood what they're saying. So then Rivera clearly stated to her what happened just before we left the dungeon. As I saying to the best of her, "Oh, that? Well, I really don't know. What happened? I really don't know and what had happened. Now I think about it, it started out when I saw him search him. I didn't see anything. He moved the blast so far, so fast. All I saw was him unsheathing it and resheathing. He then turned a minotaur and did nothing but blood. But during that moment, when I saw that, for some reason my heart started to skip a beat. While I was in this trance, he removed his mask and wiped some blood off of my face. And his touch, now I can say, was sweet and kind touch. That's a touch I've never felt before. And since I can't, and ever since then, I can't stop thinking about him now. With everyone in the room giving a shocked look, and most are about to completely pass out, Loki is in literal maximum anger because she realized Ainz has fallen in love at first sight, and she doesn't know how to process it. And that bastard's trying to take her away from me, she was thinking, with Vera then laughing out loud and saying, "Wow, I never thought that would happen to you. But I have to ask a very important question. Was he really that fast with a sword?" Eyes nodded her head, then said it was like he was a god of war sword or something. With the way he was using it. In a sense, it's kind of beautiful, even if you couldn't see it. Just to know the skill level, I think. If I'm using what I'm saying correctly. Because of this caught the attention of Finn, Rivera, and Garth especially. That they're thinking all to themselves, if he's that good, who could have trained him? With that, they then have further discussions. Now we cut to the church. Spells walking into the underground room, hanging his hooded coat. Just then, a small goddess in a white dress with blue ribbons wrapped into a ponytail on her head jumps up, hugs him, and then says, "Welcome back," as she drops back down to the floor. Belle smiling as he takes off his mask, saying to her, "I'm home, my beloved goddess Hestia." He then picks her up and kisses her straightly on the lips, and sat down with her on the couch after that, with her saying that was no fair. Belle responds, "What's wrong with kissing a woman I love? That might be one of my future wives." Then Hestia said, "But I should really get a warning first about that, Belle." And Belle responding, "Well, no, really. I don't want to give you a warning. Because if I want to kiss you, I should kiss you as much as I want." And then gives her a happy smile, which then makes Hestia sigh because she knows she has no way of winning this or getting out of this argument. So at this point, she just points out something on the table as she says, "I brought home back food from the stand I work at." Which Belle smiled. Hestia then said to him in a little bit of a depressed tone and look, and said to him, "I'm so sorry you got stuck with a worthless goddess, and probably a worthless lover at that." Belle then said, "I didn't get stuck with a worthless goddess or lover. You're the only one that didn't care about my mask, my background, or why I didn't want to remove or reveal anything. You just accepted me and asked me to join your familia. It's one of the reasons I fell for you, by the way." As he kisses her cheek, her blushing like crazy, and she recomposes herself. She then says, "Let's eat and we'll check your stats." Which they do. After that, Belle gets up and gets on the bed, laying down with a pillow in front of him with his back facing Hestia. As they do the usual thing, and Hestia checks Belle's stats. Seeing that skill of his, demonic growth, is a literal monster that I don't know why it exists. You already almost have all A ranking stats. Like the only thing you don't have A rank right now is your magic. It's less than a month. It's been barely a month. Seriously, Belle, I thought the demon race had died out centuries ago. But to think one survived all this time thanks to that forbidden magic you told me about. It's now I think about it, especially being around you. The demon race was amazing. I mean, you have this ability to pull off all this kind of power, techniques, and moves, and you're not a jerk about it. And from what I read, most of the demonic race wasn't either. And she smiled at him, telling him that she truly loves and cares for Belle. But Belle was thinking to himself, "I'm so sorry, guys, for lying to you about what's really going on with me. But it's better if you think that for now than the truth, so when I think you're ready, you can handle it." As he sighs a little bit, he then smiles, saying, "I know you do." And then he grabs his goddess into a bridal style as he sat up. He then asks her a very important question. "Shall we cuddle to sleep?" With Hestia saying in a complete blush, "No fair, but okay." Now we cut to the next day, and it's on the street. As he was walking through it, then he hears a voice saying, "Hey, young man with a mask." He turns to see this young, dark elf woman with light silver crimson hair and golden eyes. They shine just like a gold coin. She was also in a waitress outfit. She had quite a sizable bust, you could say. Then saying, "Hey, there, you dropped this." As he sees a small magic stone in her hand. And then takes it, saying, "Thank you, but honestly, I'm still 14, so I'm not a man just yet. But I would like to say thank you for noticing that I dropped it once again." She then says, "Oh, I'm sorry. You're tall for your age." Just then, Bell nodded his head, but he got really embarrassed because he heard his stomach grumble. And then the woman said, "Wait here a moment." And she ran into the place she was in front of, running back out with a lunchbox. Bell first tried to deny it. She then said, "Well, I work here, so I can eat here. Plus, a growing young boy like you should not go without food. But on the condition, I would like you to come by and eat today at the restaurant. Is that okay?" Belle then just nodded her head. She then said, "Oh, by the way, my name is Lutris Baladon. But just call me Lou. That's what my friends and everyone else I consider close do." Belle nodded his head and said, "Okay. I promise I'll see you later, Lou." We then cut back to the Loki mansion as we enter into one of their towers. As two figures are overlooking it, with as we cut to eyes just swinging her sword, trying to get her thoughts off the young boy, but nothing was working. She was getting worse by every second. She didn't understand what was going on. As we cut back to the figures in the tower, realizing it's Loki and Bavaria. They're looking down from it, saying, Loki saying out loud, "I'm going to find that boy and cut his head off. How dare he try to take my eyes away from me like that?" As Bavaria just sighed, and saying to her, "The matters of a heart are not the duties of a goddess, especially one of lies and trickery." Plus, I think this would be good for Heinz. It might finally get her mind off of that and make her open up. Loki just clicking her tongue and then just saying, "So who's this kid, Riveria?" She then then responded, "I really don't know. It seems all I can really find out about him personally was he wears his mask. That's it. His familia is unknown. Anything else is basically unknown. And I found out he was partnered with Ina, but she refused to help me. And I finally got her to reveal something. He has a personal contract with the guild and with the god of Aurorio. This even shocked Loki to her core, saying, "How the hell does he know the old man?" Then said, "I don't know, but this just makes him way more interesting." Now, we cut at the church after he had done dungeon exploring, with Hestia having a very somewhat hostile chat, telling Belle, "Okay, you can head out there to keep that promise with that woman, but in exchange, I get extra cuddles tonight, young mister." At this, Belle just nodded his head, and he head out. He then enters the restaurant he saw her enter and leave, and it was called the Hostess of Fertility. It looked to be a restaurant and bar. He walked into it, and as he walked in, she saw Lou, and she then was saying, "Welcome." Then she stopped herself. "Oh, wait, it's you. I can't believe I forgot to ask for your name earlier. Mind if I know?" Belle just answered, "My name is Belle Cornell." As he walks to the bar with Mom, he then saying, "So this is the young boy Lou was talking about." And then she taps him on the forehead, saying, "You really wear a mask, huh?" Bell nodded as he took off those lower pieces of mask to reveal his mouth area. He then said, "So what would you recommend, Miss Mia?" "To be honest, I am a former traveler of the world, and I've never been picky with the food I eat." For that, Mamma Mia just smiled, saying, "So you're giving me free rein to do what I want? How about this? I'll give you a big meal and I'll charge you half." With that, Belle smiled and even caused Mamma Mia to blush a bit, thinking to herself, "This kid has a very good smile. Very captivating, too." Now, after he had eaten a meal and was about to leave, he heard whispers all around him as he turned to see this large group of Avengers walking. So he's walking up to Belle and just saying, "This is a Loki familiar. They love eating. God's Hestia, God's Loki, my apology, loves eating here." As he was watching them, he realized he recognized the young golden haired girl. He then chuckled and smiled. And after a little bit of watching them as they sat down, he then told Lou that if he could have a drink just before he left. She then said that was all right, and he gave her another sweet smile, causing her to blush. And as she went to go get a drink for him, and she did come back with it, but he was also listening carefully to what the Loki familiar conversation was. As Finn said, "So that guy, Eyes, honestly, what you saw was real, what you did with that sword, right?" Eyes then thought about between bites of food, then Trigger said, saying yes. "If I had to place his power, he's stronger than me, and the strongest I've ever seen with a sword or a blade." So then Reveria pointed out, "See, there's not much about him, though. And then he wears a mask. You said you saw him without it, his full face. Could you describe him?" Said eyes got completely red just thinking about what had happened. The Tione and Tione saying, "So, was he really that good looking or something? Because the second she asked you about that, you got more beet red than the ketchup on your food right now, Eyes." I just shook her head because she wasn't able to really speak. As the young brown haired elf girl in this group said, "Well, you can't be that pretty because Ainz is the prettiest." With Tione saying, "Really, Leafia? Really?" Heinz finally then spoke up, saying that honestly, you could confuse him for a deity, a beauty, or a god, but honestly, I don't think you really would, because he completely puts them to shame. Plus, he has this really kind and sweet touch. So I wonder why he has to wear a mask. The green silver-haired wolf Bete, who was clearly drunk at this point, screamed out, "How could you fall for someone? Nobody weakling like that. He's no man. A real man never wears a mask, since it's being a coward and a weakling, unworthy to his family." After hearing this, Belle just completely snapped. Mamma Mia could tell and decided to wait what he said. Then said, "I'm not going to cause a fight here, but I want permission to punish him, because I know the rules of a place like this. Eating and drinking should be an enjoyable experience." Mamma Mia just nodded her head, thinking herself, "Oh, I'll let him loose. I'm kind of curious." He then left his money on the counter, and then he appeared right behind Bete before anyone could see him move. He then drew his katana that was from his back. Just as he drew it, he resheathed it. In front of the whole bar and local familia, Bete was stripped down to his underwear, causing him to freak the complete effing out. The bell whispered in his ears, "Ancient magic, mind control," then said out loud to him, "You're going to run around for the next hour screaming, 'I'm a pervert,' all over the city." Bete got up and did just that, with Belle laughing out loud uncontrollably, saying, "I see ancient spells work. You ventures better start building up your knowledge and defenses to them." He then turns to the Loki familia and said this to them, "Next time, I'm not going to be this nice." He then gives this smile, which causes all the girls at the table, even Leafy at this point, and pretty much every other girl in the bar, to start blushing. He quickly returns the lower part of his face mask back on. He then sees the golden haired girl fidgeting. He then said, "So, Goldie, do you want to know something about? Do you want to know something about me?" Just then, I stood up, saying, "May I at least know your name?" He walked out and said it was Belle Cornell. But as he was walking away, Riveria jumped up trying to stop him, but he was already gone. Then she went back to the table and slammed it as hard as she could, saying he knows ancient magic. Most of that was lost in the demon race purge, which, thanks to us mortal races fearing them and not wanting to understand their generosity and strength, we lost centuries of knowledge, power, magic, everything. And honestly, I think the dungeon could have been conquered already had we had it. So, Loki, I don't care if he's a rival familiar you hate the guts of. We have to have friendly relations with him. It is the only hope we'll get to lower floors at this point. Especially with his kind of power alone, for what I felt. Finn spoke up, saying, "I agree with that statement. Plus his movements, his blade work, everything was just as I could strive. He's truly a master at it. Because even I only saw him shape the blade. It would take a lifetime to be a master to pull that off. And he's clearly so young. This brings up the question again, who taught him?" They are having a discussion. I would just start where Belle had left. Whispering to yourself, "Belle Cornell, huh? So I would be Mrs. Cornell, right, if we got together?" She starts blushing completely just thinking about it. Finally, we cut to Belle as he's laying down in bed thinking, "Really, my life has changed because of them." He's drifting to sleep as it has become the next day after he just met Vergil and Dante. With that, this what if is now done. I hope you guys enjoy it. Like, comment, subscribe. Please now visit the Patreon because I'm going to be using it more often. And like I said before, we get enough of them, enough Patreons in there, I will start doing Patreon only content with polls and stuff. And then if we get enough, as I'll say it right here, I think I'll do videos. Okay, I hope you guys have a wonderful night. This is the Real Guardian signing off.